Recently, it seems like everything's a bet. You can bet on how many times Elon Musk will tweet, war, or Jesus Christ returning. It's called the prediction market. And they want it to seem normal, but the more you look at it, the more you kind of realize that it's really a trap specifically designed for people like us. And to kind of understand the dangers of the whole thing, you have to start from the beginning. So, sports betting wasn't always everywhere. In fact, for most of modern US history, it wasn't even possible because of the Professional and Amateur Sports Protection Act of 1992, which basically barred states from authorizing or creating laws to authorize sports betting within their states. But companies still found ways around this. In 2009, a company called FanDuel started as something completely different. They started off as a company called HubDub, which was actually really similar to what we know today as the prediction market. Users bet on real-world events, but they didn't have to use real money. It was free to play, and users were given 1,000 virtual dollars upon sign-up, and they were able to build up their wealth from there. But HubDub wasn't actually making any money. They didn't have ads, and they were being an actual okay-ish company by not ruining people's lives by having them spend all their money. They needed to start getting money, which meant they needed people to start sending them money. They saw that 50% of their users were gambling on sports, and they wanted to take advantage of this. Conveniently, PASPA had a unique carve-out for fantasy sports because they were considered games of skill rather than gambling. They became a fantasy sports app and rebranded to FanDuel. You'd pay an entry fee, maybe $11, draft players under a salary cap, and if your lineup performed well, you'd win. And this is how most other draft type apps existed. Draft Day, DraftKings, Draft Street, Draft. This is one too. They all follow the same type of model. Games of skill that were completely legal, and don't forget, fun only when you won. But in 2015, it was found that 91% of profits were being won by only 1% of players. Even when it was a game of skill, most people were losing. They added a number of changes to try to make it seem more fair, or in other words, make it seem like they weren't the only ones benefiting. So they continued along, but something was lurking in the background. So in New Jersey, the casinos were struggling. So the governor was like, we need to bring back sports betting. And they ended up voting to bring back sports betting in New Jersey. But everyone was mad. The NBA, the NFL, the MLB. Professional leagues were worried that sports betting would ruin the integrity of the game, and fantasy platforms were worried that it would change their status to have to pay more in taxes. But PASPA was eventually overturned due to the 10th Amendment, which says that the federal government can't dictate what laws states are allowed to make. And PASPA was basically doing that by saying that states couldn't make new laws to allow sports betting. So it was ruled unconstitutional, and New Jersey residents could now bet all their money away if they wanted. And other states can now vote to allow sports betting if they wanted to. So at this point, the apps still had a lot of waiting to do. Some apps start to convert to sports betting apps, but only a little bit. They're still shy. They still have to wait to infiltrate the general public because in most states, sports betting was still illegal. And even once it became legal, states still had to figure out how much to tax these apps for profit and where to put the additional money. And on the other end, major sports leagues were flipping it entirely. They realized that if sports betting was going to be legal, they better be involved so they could help monitor the bets. And also, get a lot of money. With sports betting, people are now literally invested in the game. The parlays of 10 points in the first half and a win in the second forced them to watch the entire game, which gave the leagues money. And these leagues could now run sponsorships and advertisements by these companies, which gave more money. Today, sports betting on apps like FanDuel is only legal in 30 out of the 50 states. I live in California, so if I wanted to sports bet, I still couldn't do it, even today. So these apps kind of just had to leave this huge untapped market there because the states didn't want them. That's until somebody said, why don't we just change what we call it? If you haven't been living under a rock for the past year, yeah, I'm talking to you, Patrick. You probably have some idea of what the prediction market is. It's betting on anything you can possibly think of betting on in the world.
Hey, who's going out first round of the March tournament?
Duke, bro. They're frauds.
BYU. You're only making picks on sports still?
Yeah, what else would I do?
On Kalshi, you can make predictions on real-world events like weather, the news, even movies.
You're saying I could put money on if it's
bet
gonna
on
rain?
something like
Yep,
this,
that's right.
or the next president, or the cost of GTA 6. Literally anything you can think of, you can probably bet on. The prediction market is treated more like stocks than betting, and that's the kind of vibe you get from all these CEOs if you try to hear them explain it.
But the core differentiator that makes financial markets different from gambling is that there is a utility, there's value outside of the speculative activity in of itself, right? And in the case of the stock market is allocation of capital, which is very important. In the case of our markets, is this idea of pricing the future, of making humanity a little bit smarter about who's going to win the next election, if inflation is going to go up, if an earthquake is going to hit a certain city, and so on and so forth. And that makes our markets, financial markets, and not gambling.
They try to use all this crazy language to try to explain themselves out of the fact that it's literally just betting in a different font. But here's how it works. Every contract settles at $1 if correct, and $0 if you're wrong. So if something is priced at 70 cents, that means that the market thinks that there's a 70% chance that that future will occur. So if you end up buying that at 70 cents and on the future you predicted happens, you make 30 cents. It's basically betting that some future will be true and then you get some profit if you're right. So with Kalshi and Polymarket kind of popularizing the prediction markets over the last couple of years, sports betting companies were getting mad. They actually used to have campaigns against prediction markets. Sports betting companies like FanDuel and DraftKings would argue that the prediction market is literally just a sportsbook that allows for underage gambling. Plus, they would be more harmful to the state because they wouldn't have to pay nearly as much in taxes because they would be a federally protected financial exchange, like stocks basically. But no one was doing anything. So can't beat them, you join them. Sports betting companies have now become things like FanDuel Predicts and DraftKings Predictions. And official stockbrokers like Robinhood now have prediction markets as well. It just continues to grow. The line between investing and gambling is getting blurrier by the month. And they want to shield us from finding out the truth that in February, Polymarket opened up an entirely free grocery store just a week after Kalshi paid $50 for everyone's groceries. It lasted only 5 days, and it was meant to paint Polymarket as the people's market, but really, it was not all that great. Basically, what they did was you wait in a line, and once you get to the front, you get a tote, and in that tote bag, you can put 2 of each item until your bag is full. Sounds pretty cool, right? What actually ended up happening was people reported waiting in line for up to 11 hours, and by only the 3rd day, the store was already running out of food. The store was basically non-functional, and it definitely was not practical at all. It was more of a marketing stunt than anything. First off, the grocery store was in one of New York's most wealthy areas, and they made headlines by having an entirely free grocery store, even if it didn't have free food by the end of it. They just wanted good PR. And you've got to think, how would a company like Polymarket, which seems really enticing to us because of how much money we can make from it, how would they have so much money as to lease an entire store and give away groceries for free? It's really because most people lose money. Approximately 70% of people have reported negative winnings from using these apps. And only a small portion, 4%, hold 70% of the total profit made from these apps. So you are super likely to lose when you predict the future on any of these apps like Kalshi or Polymarket or whatever platform you may use. And it kind of explains why they advertise themselves to us so much. The more people they get, the more people that will lose and help them make money. And we can kind of see how much money they have by the sheer amount of ads we see, basically everywhere. First off, for sports betting, we got LeBron James and Kevin Hart working for DraftKings. We got Rob Gronkowski and Charles Barkley working for FanDuel. But we also have sports betting ads in basically all professional sports. But prediction market ads are even crazier. We got Kalshi making AI ads. This one depicts Jesus Christ and connects it to betting.
If history has taught us anything, it's not to root against the underdog. Right, Peter?
No spoilers.
How awesome and not dystopian at all is that? More people on TikTok trying to get us to bet. We have Polymarket predictions showing during the Golden Globes, ESPN. They're everywhere. And in the ads we see for sports betting or the prediction market, we only ever see people win. It seems really appealing because of this. Who wouldn't want to win money just by betting on their favorite team to win? And the prediction market makes betting more widespread than ever. The prediction market is uniquely available in every state. It isn't the stock market, but also can't be qualified as sports betting, so it sits in this weird in-between, which allows it to exist in states where betting is banned. It's also available to anyone over the age of 18, rather than the traditional age of 21. They can give people as young as 18 betting. They might just get a customer for life, because they can try to change the name all they want. But the prediction market is a form of betting. And betting is officially classified as a behavioral addiction. And the danger only increases as players get younger. Players 18 through 20 are significantly more likely to chase their losses with another bet, which usually leads to more money lost. The high winning will be something that these young players will always strive after, which is why these platforms frequently offer some form of cash bonus for referring friends or just doing your first trade in general. This seems really cool, but really they're just betting on you to lose most of your money, but at least win one. If you can at least win one, it creates that exhilarating winner feeling that you will continue to chase over and over. They want you to become addicted. These apps even use AI to detect addiction signatures, which send you push notifications and limited time offers to keep you hooked on the app. And since the president's son is a chairman on the boards of both Kalshi and Polymarket, there definitely won't be any laws regulating them anytime soon. In fact, Trump media even plans on launching Truth Predict, which is their own prediction market platform. And all this love and lack of regulation for the prediction market really opened up the opportunity to become an inside trader. Earlier this year, just hours before the US military raid that captured Nicolas Maduro, a new Polymarket account had bet $32,000 that he would be captured by the end of the month. Because the odds were only 6%, they were able to figure out that this was insider trading. But government officials aren't the only ones trading on the inside. MrBeast's editor recently got caught after making a series of perfect trades of what MrBeast would say in his next video. There are plenty of these instances, but they only ever get caught after making the most painfully obvious low odds bets imaginable. These CEOs see insider trading simply as an edge in the market, rather than kind of illegal.
But predictive markets do rely on someone having some inside information.
Yeah, I think that people going and having an edge to the market is a good thing. Obviously, you need to curate them and you need to be really clear and stringent on where the line is drawn and like sort of ethics, and we spend a lot of time on that, but it's sort of an inevitability that this will happen and there's a lot of benefits from it, and people will adapt.
They want insider trading because it makes their markets more accurate. And there's even been times when the market has directly influenced events. In late 2025, during a live earnings call, Coinbase CEO Brian Armstrong pulled out his phone and proceeded to say a series of words that were being bet on whether he would say them or not.
Yeah, I hope we answered your question on that. I was a little distracted because I was tracking the prediction market about what Coinbase will say on their next earnings call, and I just want to, add here the words Bitcoin, Ethereum, blockchain, staking, and Web3 to make sure we get those in before the end of the call.
The media tried to paint it as a troll, but he literally made people lose money. You can kind of see how easy it is for people to influence the market if they're at the top. Before the trade deadline, Giannis Antetokounmpo was in tons of trade talks. And shortly after the trade deadline, Giannis proceeded to say that he would never demand a trade and isn't going anywhere. Why would he wait? He has a partnership with Kalshi. He has a small stake in their company now, and he will quite literally be making money for stirring up rumors and drama. Most of the bets, aside from sports, are based on outcomes determined by human behavior. People in power or players in sports can change their decisions based on who they want to benefit in the market. So the people who have to work the most to correctly predict the market are the people they advertise the most to. Because most of us don't have an edge, most of us don't have insider trading knowledge, most of us can't just influence the entire outcome of a prediction. Because we aren't people in power. We're just normal people. And normal people are kind of screwed. So. We can't do anything about the prediction market. We can't stop it, but we can stop being its fuel. Win or lose, we still lose something, whether it's self-control with the start of a new addiction or money that we could have used on something else. The fact that these markets have grown so much is representative of the kind of sad reality we live in right now. The economy is literally so bad that people are turning to betting to have enough money to live. The prediction market represents our last hope to earn that money that we want so bad. So my best advice, stay away. Don't get involved with the prediction market. Find a way to build wealth that doesn't involve you having to hope for war or for words to be said by a billionaire that doesn't care about you. And hopefully one day all this stuff gets regulated. Hopefully we get some regulations and we don't see everything we could possibly fathom being bet on. But what will give us hope until that day is smashing that notification bell so you can know when my next video comes out, and commenting what you think about all the prediction and betting stuff going on right now. And also leave a like. It really helps me get more audience members and subscribe maybe, and watch your baby. Oh, I'll catch you guys next time. I still don't know what that means. Thank you for watching my video.